SmashFactor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness. How about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this. He's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody back to the SmashFactor 2019 Valero Texas Open edition. I'm your host, Michael Ruvy. You can catch me on Twitter at Michael Ruvy. As always, I'm here with my two partners, Gup, and you can catch him on Twitter at I am the Gup, and Bucks, and you can catch him on Twitter at BPSO11. As always, on all of the social medias at GupsCorner or GupsCorner.com. SmashFactor is brought to you by AmpCaddy. Go to ampcaddy.com, type in the promo code SMASH, and get $20 off your next AmpCaddy. Gup, you want to let them know about our affiliates real quick?
Yeah, you can go to GupsCorner.com on our affiliate page and get all the links if you don't want to write this down. If not, you can go to fansharesports.com, use the code GUP, get 20% off. Or you can go to fantasynational.com/GUP and you get 20% off exclusive to Gup's Corner listeners and followers. Recently had a price increase there, but the 20% off gets you back to the original price, whether it be weekly, monthly, or yearly. Be sure to check out Twitter feeds this week. I posted the first version of the Masters prize pack that we'll be giving out next Sunday night, as well as the Blue Jack National trip. You got 4 ways to enter. You can like and subscribe to us on iTunes and review us. You subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Instagram, or like us on Twitter. Any of those ways get you into Facebook as well. Any of those ways get you a drawing. All 4 of them, you get 4 into the drawing. The prize pack, as you can see on Twitter, already has stuff from Tory, Honda Classic, WGC Match Play, Valero, API, the TPC. This week I'll grab at the Valeros. I'll be there live this week, so we'll add that to it. And then you get a free 1-year membership as well as a part of the prize pack, up to almost $500 now. One lucky winner will get that the night of the Sunday night at the Masters.
And Bucks, I just want to give you a quick shout out. You're back from you were traveling, I think, for business last week, but you are back this week. And how are you doing this week?
I am back. I am still traveling. As you can see,
correct.
I'm in a hotel right now in Wilmington, North Carolina, but I'm doing awesome, man. Had a few Tito's tonight and feeling good.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to do a real quick review of the match play. We're going to discuss this week's Valero Texas Open, and we're going to get into the betting and the DraftKings side of that. So let's get straight into it, the good, bad, and ugly of the match play. Gup, you want to lead us off with that one?
Yeah, obviously two goods for me. One was betting. Had my worst week of the year at the Valspar and bounced back with a pretty solid week for us. So I was happy with that, even without hitting an outright. And obviously there wasn't a first round leader bet, so just straight matchups and group plays and stuff like that made it a very nice profit. The other was being out there. It was really nice. We got the nice weather days. ADHD, and then obviously Josh Burkett was out there with me. Gorgeous course. Way more undulation and in the greens, and then elevation changes than I expected. We walked the front 9 each morning with a couple groups. Was recommended by Adon, and beautiful views, obviously, and that was why I did it. But the changes there, it's not that I'm going to hop on and say everybody that performed well there is going to do well at the Masters, but I was surprised, especially living down here. I was surprised that course set the way it did, and some of the changes. I think it'd be a very difficult stroke play event for the guys to grind out, especially as we saw with the wind picking up. So it's not built for that. It will never host a stroke play. There's not enough. You can't get enough people in there for an event like that, I don't think. But perfect match play event. Very nice course. I'll be back probably every year as long as I'm living down here. And and obviously looking forward to going to Valero the first time this week. I'll be there Thursday and Friday for sure. My bad of the week was DK. Built what seemed to be, as I started reading all the Twitter feeds, catching up over the weekend, a rare to have 150 optimally built lineups, and that's what I did. All 150 had a chance at 6 of 8 in the Elite 8 and 4 of 4 in the Final 4. But which just shows you can build it perfectly, but if your guys don't win, it really doesn't matter. But gave myself a chance. I was up 20x going into Saturday, I think, and even Saturday afternoon was still. Friday, which was the third day, even Friday night, I was still up 10 to 12x. Then Saturday just didn't get the right wins. Usti and Tiger were two of the big ones I needed to get through, and it didn't happen. The guys I faded was great. Probably my ugly, which rolls right into it, was I had a complete fade of JT, didn't like that at all, but didn't really think about or oversight of putting even 5% Lucas in to my pool was a big mistake because, if you're going to fade the number one guy in that pod or that their little 8-man and not play, a sleeper like Lucas, that's a mistake on my part that kind of bit me, obviously, as he made it all the way to the Final Four. And then, even though I know the Sunday coverage is bad with those groups, I felt like they didn't do a great job overall. It kind of bothered me some. I was trying to watch it. Obviously, March Madness going on, Duke game, going back and forth. But when they're trying to grab the attention of the audience, they didn't do a very good job, especially, when you have the third place match going on, which meant a lot, and especially in our world, DFS betting it meant, and saw very little of it. So I really wasn't pleased with the way they covered. I know it's difficult with only having two guys going, but we should still see, worst case, you see all the shots if all you got is two matches going, and there were several shots we didn't see at all of the Molinari match. But other than that, it was a good tournament. I'm glad to get back to a regular week and put a little focus into the Valero. I know the industry is going to jump to the Masters, and rightfully so, but I think there's still plenty to win this week. There's a ton of satellites, so being there is going to obviously make me want to play some, but I think for anybody, it's a week not to overlook because there's still angles and ways to build your bankroll and get into some of those big contests for next week.
Yeah, good stuff. Bucks, how about you?
Yeah, for me, I would say, admittedly, I went super light last week. I was out of pocket the majority of the week at a conference. I did some research. I entered one lineup. I had Webb Simpson as my OAD, who I forgot to pick or enter, but he was in my pool, so that ended poorly. But I only had one lineup on the week, and I went super light, so it wasn't a big deal. That would be my bad and ugly. I would say my good twofold. One, I've been on Kisner for weeks, and I knew he was going to win at some point in time over I don't know. I knew he was going to win sometime this year. And so it was solid to see him win because he's been trending in the right direction. Anybody that listens to this pod knows that we've been talking about him for weeks. So that was amazing. The even better part, the ultimate good for the week, is seeing how many GupsCorner subs just straight crushed this week. It was awesome. So for me, going super light this week, having one bullet in some of the contests, this was like best case scenario because I got to sweat with the entire community who seemingly like everybody had something going on. I mean, the subs took down the $5. There was a chop for first. We had that. We had the $44. We came in second with Tambo. The 3-max, the club twirl. There were like 5 or 6 GPPs where a GupsCorner sub took it down. So that is honestly best case scenario. All of us, obviously, on the pod, Gup, Ruvy, myself, JB, everybody, Tambo, we all play, and we play to win, right? But we built this community to build a group of people who become better DK players, become smarter DK players, become better bettors, smarter bettors. And And they're doing that, and it just shows because they're crushing every week. Somebody every week is crushing, and it's awesome to see. So that would be my good.
Yeah, my good was I loved Kisner also last week. That was also my bad. I went with Louis over Kisner when they faced each other. So I had an okay week. I didn't go that heavy, but okay week. But to your point, I'll just do a quick shout out to those guys, some of the major winners, because that's also part of my good. D-Man Ross won the 3K and the $5 3 entry. Doman 8R21 went from $30 invested to $870. It's pretty good. Mike Agasta got $47 to $1,050.
Love it.
Daniel D'Annunzio won his second 555 Masters qualifier ticket. This one he won in the Punta Cana, so that was good on him. KT Thumbs went from $222 to $1,113. Tambo obviously won $20K, and then Jason Loftquist was the biggest winner of the week, and that's probably one of the ones that split it. $137 to $25,864. So really good on him there.
Rushing.
Yeah, good week there. Awesome there. There was a lot of I really believe that Gup's advice and his article about the lineups and building it really gave a lot of people more confidence this last week, and it also gave them a better idea what to do. Now, Gup wanted to win 25K, I bet, but he helped other people build the lineups, but they still did have to pick the right people. So good on them, and good on Gup for helping them. So let's get into this week then. Let's do the course preview for the TPC San Antonio, Gup's backyard. Bucks, take it away.
Yeah, Gup's backyard. I'm actually going to be there at a conference in the fall. I'm pumped because the conference every year has a golf tournament, and this year the golf tournament, Gup, you're going to come, is at the Oaks course this year. So I am pumped this year. I get to play it in September, but San Antonio, TPC San Antonio, Oaks course, 7,400 yards, par 72. Greens, you have medium-sized greens, about tour average, 6,300 square feet. You have fairways that honestly have a fair mix. You have some fairways that are fairly wide, some fairways that are really, really narrow. Bermuda grass all around, but they do mix in some natural grasses from that area. So like the greens have Bermuda with Poa and bent in them. Average winning score is -13. The average cut is +1. The really cool thing about this course, it is a Norman design with a little bit of help from Sergio Garcia. And so you can kind of see their playing styles when you look at this golf course, because you have this golf course that requires you don't have to be super, super accurate off the tee because the rough is not very high here. But you have to keep it in mind because you can't miss too far off the fairway. Yes, the rough is light, but it is fairly tree lined, and so you have to keep it in play. And then the real challenge is on your second shot. You have a lot of approach shots that require you to take specific angles to the pins because you have these green complexes that have these bunkers that are just these rough-looking, jagged bunkers that are deep and nasty if you hit them in the wrong positions. And then you have these really undulating greens that you have to be on the right side of these slopes and these undulations to have any chance whatsoever to two-putt. And so you see, and it is not a correlated course, but you see some of this at Augusta as well, where you have to be on the right sides of these tiers to have a chance. And so it's a really, really fun golf course. I think last year we saw, and normally this is one of the hardest courses on tour. Last year we saw some pretty low numbers, but normally this is one of the harder courses on tour. I would say That's because the majority of your approach shots, you have 175 to 225 yards. All of the par threes are fairly long. They average out at 220 yards. Par threes are by far the hardest holes for any tour pro. Last year, Andrew Landry ended up winning because his average on the par threes was 2.63, 220 yards, and he averaged under par on those par threes. It's just ridiculous. And so when you look at all of the other holes, you have 10 par fours, 4 of which are over 450 yards. That's long. You have 4 par fives. Several are reachable, but by tour standards, they're very difficult par fives. You're only seeing a birdie or better rate of like 25%. And so overall, this golf course is fair, but it's difficult. And so you have to keep the ball in play. You have to be a good iron player, and you have to have a really good short game to contend here.
Awesome. Yeah. Then let's get into this week then. And Gup, why don't you give us the key stats you're looking at given the course preview and what you know?
Yeah. So I was doing the research last night, and I think, and this may be perception versus reality, and we'll see tomorrow as I start listening to the industry. And I may update by Wednesday, but as of now, I think a lot of people will pay attention to the historical of what's happened at this course. But as of right now, the weather is not what it normally is for 2 reasons. One is this is about 3 or 4 weeks earlier than what it normally is. And this week right now is setting up to be beautiful. The course is 20 minutes from my house. Right now, Thursday and Friday look absolutely perfect. 85 degrees, sunny. The highest the wind is going to be is like 10 miles an hour, and that's late Friday as a potential storm system comes in. 2 things could change that. Obviously, if the storm system moves up and moves to noon Friday, which doesn't look that way right now, but if it did, that could change a stacking of a flight. As we all know, a few years ago, there was a huge advantage in the flights, and I think DJ and another guy were like 2 of the only guys that made the cut out of his draw in the flight. So right now, I just don't see any of that. And even on the weekend, it's going to be a little cooler with the chance of some rain, but no real wind. And I think this course will play, especially the front half, easier than it has. And because I think when you look historically, the biggest protector of this course is the wind. And twofold on what Buck said, I think a lot of guys may look to go at the guys off the tee, and I just don't know if it's an advantage because some of the par fives aren't gettable even for a Finau or some. I mean, they are, but they're no more gettable than what it is for the shorter guys. And some guys off the tee have done well, but if you look at top tens over the last 8 years, it's a mixed bag of similar to the Valspar or Honda, or you got your Furyk type, Zach Johnson. So I think it's an all-around game course. I think the easier, there's a few guys I'll get into that I worry if they can go low enough early, but if they can, I think they can outlast on the weekend, and we'll kind of get into that. So for me, I'm looking at strokes gained approach always, greens and red gained. I have my secret sauce, which is 3rd in my rankings this week. So a little more emphasis on something I've picked up there over the last 6 years of data that I kind of ran. Ball striking, short game, and then strokes game par 5. And I'm kind of looking at that twofold. Obviously, I want to see who does well on it, but I'm looking at it. If they do well on it, could that be a weakness this week because they can't get there and take advantage of sometimes? So it doesn't necessarily mean I'm looking at it because of guys that will automatically score there. I'm kind of just eyeing it. With the recent tournaments that have come up, the Punta's in my recent form, but I downgraded the weighting there significantly. And then rolling stats is in there as normal. And then rolling putt, I put in there, I downgraded it a little bit. You got some pure Bermuda greens, as Bucks kind of said. And you'll have some overseed. It's going to be slower than normal, but kind of all together, that's where I'm looking at. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on the same thing. I mean, for me, I agree with what you said. I think it's important to keep it in play off the tee, but with the rough being fairly light, it's not like a be-all, end-all. For me, this is a second shot golf course. So for me, I'm focusing in on strokes gained approach. I'm focusing in on those proximity numbers between 175 and 225. And I'm focusing in on scrambling, to be honest with you. I think that when you have more than half of your approach shots coming from a 7-iron or 6-iron or more, that you're going to miss a higher number of greens than normal. And that's the case at this golf course. Historically, people are hitting these greens at a clip of 10% less than a standard tour course. So you have 10% more opportunities where you have to get up and down. And so for that reason alone, I'm going to be picking the guys that have a sharp short game, can make the putts inside 15 feet. And then obviously the guys that have solid proximity numbers, solid iron play, those will be my focus this week.
Yeah, and I think the guys that, and this will tell, like last year, bogey avoidance was big for me. And this was one of my biggest weeks of the year last year. I did very well at the Valero, and I didn't even have Andrew Landry. I just had a lot of people in the top 10, and so did well. But, if we get to Wednesday and that storms looks like it's just blowing up, where bogey avoidance comes in, I may add it back in and things will change a little bit for me. But as of now, it's not going to. And I do think if you look at the layout of the map of the course, some of these holes will play easier than normal because you're used to a strong south wind here, which is pretty common in South Texas. And you just don't have it right now this week. You even have a little bit of the east-northeast as you approach Friday afternoon into Saturday, and it's going to make the course play easier on some holes than normal. And then some of them where they had an advantage with the south wind could play a little harder. But I think it'll be a little bit different layout, which I downgraded course history a little bit because I think this course, A, it's playing at a different time and a different schedule than normal, and B, because of the time of the year.
I agree with that.
And I don't have a lot to add to your guys' stats there. So let's get straight into this week's locks, flocks, and flops. And Bucks, I'm going to let you lead it off with your lock of the week above 10K on DraftKings.
Yeah, so this was interesting because this week is obviously, I think the Valero, I love this course, and I think the Valero gets effed, being right before the Masters. So above 10K, you got M, you got Spieth, you got Finau, Kuchar, and Fowler. For me, it really came down to two guys, M or Finau, right? Finau, one of those two. I want to go M. M is going to be one of my guys, right? I'm going to play him because of how good he's been for a decently long period of time.
Yeah.
And last year, I mean, what player of the year. But I'm going to go back to Finau. He is so good around the greens. He is really good from proximity at those distances I talked about earlier. Again, these aren't real gettable par fives, but he has the ability to score on par fives. I think that Finau among Ricky, Cooch, M is going to be a little overlooked. I'm going to be playing Finau. M would be my second choice, but Finau is going to be my pick.
Gup, how about you?
Yeah, I'll keep it. I'll keep it a little shorter, but I mean, Fowler's the guy. My big deal. I currently may not go above 10K very much at all.
Yes, that's a great strategy this week.
So I'll probably because there's like two guys above in the sixes right now that I even have a thought of. So I really gotta. It's just not a week I want to stretch. And so there's three guys that I'll even think about playing. It's Cooch, M, and Fowler, and I'm going to let ownership drive me there. And so I'll wait till Wednesday. If I'm going to lock one, it's Fowler, but I wonder, will the DFS darlings continue on M? I've been on M since he was like 6,900. So, but if people get scared of the 10-2, I'll hammer him all day. I'm not scared of him one bit. But if everybody's like, oh, I'm going to keep playing him and he looks high, I don't mind pivoting. I worry about Cooch a little bit coming off 7 match plays, grinding out the Garcia bullshit, and then all of that. I wouldn't be surprised about tomorrow he doesn't just withdraw, but maybe he just likes playing and sponsorships. I don't know. I'm going to let that part of my decision drive until ownership on Wednesday. I love him overall, but if people are going to fade Fowler just because of the price and does he care? I mean, I get so tired of hearing does he care? They're freaking pro athletes and golfers. Of course they care. I mean, unless it's a direct, they're there because of sponsorship or DJ at the where he specifically chose this for the first time in 4 years to fill an obligation. Even then, once they tee it up, they're teeing it up, right? They're not just going to shit can for the hell of it. They're not. I get tired of hearing.
Thank you for saying that, because DJ did play
well. Yeah, and so I mean, Fowler's not going to go. I mean, could something happen late Friday and he's on the cut line? He just doesn't press. I don't know, but I'm not going to let that I have to factor in like they're going to show up and play until they withdraw, and so I don't factor that at all. Kush did play a lot. He's been playing a lot overall, but so is M, right? I know M's half his age probably, but Fowler's coming off rest. I do think Fowler wants to hit stride going into next week, so that's the reason why he's my lock for the week, but that's where I'm at right
now. Like you said, Gup, I've been on Sung Jae since his first tournament, and I've played him every week. Sung Jae will be my lock of the week. 10-2, I think people will still play him probably, but Sung Jae 10-2, I'll play it. I'm gonna bet him. I'm gonna play him every week till he wins, whether he's 28-1 or 80-1. This guy is a talent. He is a talent like Bryson was last year coming up. He went wire to wire. Not just was great on the web tour. He went wire to wire at the web tour. So the guy's a great player. 20 years old, just turned 21. So yep, I'll be Sung Jae M. Let's go with the flocks this week. And Gup, I'm going to let you lead this one off. So between 7 and 9,500 on DraftKings, give me your flocks.
Yeah, so I was talking with the guy this morning before anything came out, and I had this guy named, followed his entire last 15 holes at the Honda, 14 holes. I think this spot sets up well for him. I wish it was actually going to be windy and nasty, and if it does, it will increase my exposure to him. I've already bet him. And, Ryan Palmer right now will be in. I do get a little concerned that he may get chalky. 8,400. He's got great – he missed cut last year, but before that he had a 6th, a 4th, a 6th. So knows the course.
Last year too, right?
Yeah, knows the course, likes the course, little lower price, so – could be an issue, but the way I'm building this week, other than up top where I'll let it guide me ownership, I just kind of, I'm just going to kind of, I'll pay attention to it, but it won't be as big of a factor in the middle because there's a lot of options here that you can go off of. My next guy is Horschel. A 3rd, a 4th, and 11th here, circled around a couple missed cuts back in 14 and 17. Coming in as great recent form, no miscuts, last 4 tournaments, a 26th at the TPC, a 50th at the API, a 16th at the Honda, all tough tracks, and then a 45th at the WGC, which wasn't great, but not terrible. Stats wise, he's top 10 for me. Talk about the short game, the greens and red game, the approach game, all great. Decent on Bermuda, not great, not horrible. Top half for sure. If he's fired up at all here, he's been close. I mean, he's been there, and then he just kind of fades a little bit on the weekend, so that worries me a little bit. But I definitely right now I like where he sits a lot. My last one was kind of a mix between two guys, and I kind of went with the guy that I think will be less owned, and the other guy I'll mention in our roundtable. But I'm going to go back to watched him a lot last week. After his kind of crap first match, he played really, really good, and I wish he would have made the playoff or the Sweet 16, make a little run. But got to go back to my boomer guy at Abraham Answer. I thought he was going to be chalky before prices came out. 8,900 may scare some people off because I don't know if people will correlate him to being that good. But I love his game. He's top 10 in my stats, top 10 in my rolling stats, which shows me he's improving as it comes along. Ball striking's great. He's fourth in my secret sauce. He had a 12th at the TPC. He's played this course. He played it in 2016. He played it last year, made the cut both times. So enough for me to like him a lot, and he's right now in my course. So those are the three for now, and the fourth I'll have in the round table.
Good stuff. How about you, Bucks?
Yeah, so this was a interesting week. The first guy that I would go to is going to be Kokrak, and I will play him forever. And again, I don't like his price too much this week, but when you're surrounded by Glover and Furyk and On, I think that he's going to be overlooked again this week. So I like Kokrak a lot. When you look at like the rolling stats especially, he is top 5 in every single category except for last 100 rounds, and he's 13th. And so I really like Kokrak this week. Next guy is a guy that Texas boy Ryan Palmer. I like Palmer this week. He can be a little errant off the tee, but again, rough is fairly short this week. And when you look at the last 150, 24, 12, 8, 4 rounds, he's trending in that right direction. So Ryan Palmer's the third guy. Third guy, is going to be Nick Taylor. He is a guy that we have looked at for weeks and weeks and weeks as kind of our sleeper. $7,200 this week. When you look at the rolling stats, he is 74th, 37th, 50th. Then once you get to the last 12 rounds, he goes 14th, 2nd, 20th. So trending in that right direction, and he's cheap this week. So those would be my 3.
Thanks. Yeah, that was I like a lot of those guys. I didn't have one of those guys that I didn't like there, but I will have a little bit different. My first guy that I like is going to be Benny On, actually. I was hoping that his price would be in the 9,000s to try to keep ownership off. I don't know if it will because I'm sure he'll get the Mayo bump, but I'll still play Benny On. I think it was Justin Ray who said that he was second in strokes gained total at the match play. Didn't make it out of his group, but he had a tough group if I remember correctly. But Benny On, yeah, he did. He had Fleetwood and Louis in his group, so that was a tough group. The second guy I like, which he hasn't missed a cut here, and he's played every year since 2013. It could be a kind of a flyer at this point, but I really like him, what I'm seeing from him, and that's Aaron Baddeley. He plays really well here. He's a great scrambler. He's playing these weaker fields really well right now. Puerto Rico, second. Arnold Palmer, which is not a weaker field, so I'm not trying to say that it is, but 17th at the Arnold Palmer, scrambled like a monster there, obviously. Miscut at the Players, and then 7th at Punta Cana. His recent form is good for the competition he's playing. This is just a step up above, I would say, of Punta Cana, obviously, in Puerto Rico, but Aaron Baddeley, yes, is one of my guys. The next guy, I watched him last week. I liked him a lot, and I knew nothing about him, and I think I've said it before, like, how is this guy in the top 50 in the world? But I watched him. I've read some other things on him. Everybody says he's a great ball striker. He's not the greatest putter. He's a Euro guy playing over here again. Justin Harding.
He's been playing good.
He's been playing good. He played good, and I really like him. And I just watched a couple people's feeds, and they said he's a great ball striker. Went and looked it up, and he is. And so on the Euro Tour. So I hope he goes underlooked, but I'm going with 2 flyers there, I feel, but I still like him. But what are you looking at then for your flops, Gup?
Yeah, so I felt like you just did your sleepers, so I'm worried about.
No, he's 7,800 or 7,800.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like Justin Hart, like Core, like Flock. I mean,
I like him. I mean,
I've been cold as ice on DK. So luckily, betting keeps me afloat, or I'd be broke. But
I haven't been good on DK either, so I wouldn't trust me right now.
Yeah, I'm down. Not significant, but definitely down this year. Yeah, so mine are easy. One of them Bucks isn't going to like. I'll keep it quick so we can.
Finau.
100%.
Here we go.
100%. Doesn't. does not set up in my model very well. Has it really? I said this the last time we talked about it. I'm like, to me, he's a rhythm guy that when he gets hot and plays well, he plays well, and he just hasn't been. His form's okay, but for the 10-8 price, if he's 9,200, I'm all in. But for the 10-8, he's got a top 5, top 3, and maybe he starts it this week. I think he's eyeing that tournament next week. I think he's a hot play. We have some exciting news at the end of the pod with the guy that I know likes him. We'll talk about that a little later, but I don't like him this week. I'm going to fade him. I guess the rare thing is if I'm seeing him 6-7% come Wednesday and he's the top guy up there, the lowest, then maybe he's not terrible in my model by any means. Right now he's my fade. The second one, it's not even close. I won't touch him. Don't want any part of him, and it's speed. I'm still not on it. I don't care that he almost won a 4-man bracket. I'm more likely to play him next week at the price he's there than I am this week at 10-3. I hope he goes at the same time as M and Answer and all those, so all the Goo guys can go watch him. So I have the course to myself to follow the guys that can really play golf right now. So I'll fade him all day. He has played this course twice. It was 4 years ago, and he's got the number one history in my deal because he's got a second and a 10th, and he gained a crap ton of strokes when he played those 2 times. But no thanks to me for him. I'll pass and maybe take some next week, but I assume he'll be popular next week because it's the Masters.
He was playing a little bit better 4 years ago, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
How about you, Bucks?
First guy, Gut mentioned Spieth, easy play there. He could come out any week and win, and it wouldn't surprise me, but he's been so freaking bad for the last, honestly, year that at 10-3, it's just mind-boggling that he's right there, right? The second guy, and this may not be a popular opinion, but for me, Lucas Bjerregaard at 9,000 is just egregious, in my opinion. Egregious. Yes, he played awesome last week. That's great. He's a solid player, but there's no way that he should be in the top 15 in pricing in any golf tournament right now. I mean, last week before, all year, he's been, 62, 63, 6,400 bucks, and he has a good week, and all of a sudden he's 9K.
That's what happens when you take down Tiger too, right?
It almost makes me want to go. I mean, he played well and definitely saw him in person. He's impressive, but like I expected 8,100 type number.
Absolutely.
Maybe even 70. Just for what it was, but it almost makes me think everybody will think that way, but maybe not. Maybe they go. I'm not going to play a chalky. I'm with you there. 100% agree. But if everybody's going to overlook him at 9K, he's in the realm. But I agree.
So this is a week where you legitimately can have a bunch of money left over because you have to pick your spots, and because it's fairly weak up top, it's not a problem to have a bunch of 7K guys and feel comfortable about it. And so, yes, if you're playing the $5 and need a leverage spot, that could be it. But realistically, if you're playing a normal event, I'm thinking he's around the Henley list Jimmy Walker number at 7,800 most weeks. And so to see him at 9, surrounded by guys that have way more chops than he does, was just a little eye-opening.
And he already got his master invite, so it's not like he's fighting for that either. So and that's the thing. And I don't know if anybody's mentioned it so far, but that's the thing with some of these guys that just got this recent invite, right? And guys that just got a paycheck like he did. Do you think he's going to come out, or maybe a bad scenario? He is probably going to come out and try to win this. Great. But there's a lot of guys in this field that could potentially be playing the Masters that are coming out to prepare for the Masters. They're trying to hit that right to left ball flight.
they're trying to control the flight of their irons. They're trying to hit certain shots to prepare for the Masters, not necessarily prepare for this event. And so that could definitely be one where he's like thinking about the Masters already this week for sure.
Yeah. That's also why, we can go back to last year when it was the Houston Open. Poulter was a great play. He missed out by one spot, had to win. He went out and won. So to your point, there's other people that are playing to win this tournament more than working towards the Masters. They're all playing to win it, but there's a different focus for some people. That's why I liked Benny up. Like to my sleeper, or not my sleeper, my flops. My first one is going to be your guys' boy, and he's off. That's Joaquin Niemann. He's just off this year so far. I don't think he has a top 40. He missed a cut at Punta Cana last week. He'll probably win this week, but
I can't argue with you.
Yeah, he's just been not good. I love the guy. I'm with you guys. I think he's great. I think he will be great in time, but he's been bad this year so far. My second guy is I had a hard time with this one because I thought Bjerregaard as well. I looked at that price and I thought, I agree with you. But then I don't know if he's going to be that popular. But if I had to pick one right now, it'd just be Bjerregaard for the reasons you mentioned. So I won't waste too much time on that then. Let's go to our – go ahead.
The only thing about Niemann and not being a fanboy here is that he did finish sixth last year here. So it caught his eye. He has made 3 cuts other than last week. And he finished T40 at the Valspar, but his pricing reflects that, right? So even at 7,600, if he makes the cut, he's virtually going to return, close to the value. I 100% agree with you because I've looked at him hard and I worry about his form. He's terrible in form. Even when he has made it, he's barely above, 0 on the strokes gained in these tournaments that he has made the cut. So it's not like he's making the cut and run away with it. So I do agree with you 100%. And his putting is struggling. And that'll be a factor again this week. So he's high in my model. So I'm still not sure if I'm on him yet, but I agree with you there.
Yeah, I forgot. He did finish top 40 at Valspar. So he has made 4 cuts in a row, though, since the Genesis. So or before the Punta Cana.
I do like him more if it shapes up to be a lower scoring as opposed to minus 15, 16 type deal.
Yep. Let's get to the sleeper then. How about we'll start with Bucks on this one. What do you like for your sleeper, Bucks? Below 7K.
Yeah, there were a couple guys. I mean, there's a lot of guys down here that I've been watching recently that I really like. For example, you have a guy like Freddie Jakobsen, who I've been watching for the last couple months.
You do love you some Freddie.
I do, and I'm not saying I like him this week, but there's a lot of guys that made me give him another look. But the one guy that I really like down here, I'll go way down, is going to be Leviota. I really like Leviota this week. I'll obviously be playing some Max Homa, thanks to Gup and the GupsCorner teams kind of matching his birdies and eagles donation charity event this week. And then the other guy that I've been on all year, and I will continue to play him, is Julian Edelman at $6,700.
Gup, how about you?
This is a week that normally I have a lot kind of up there to choose from. I have 2, maybe 3 that even catch my eye off the bat without doing deep dive into the numbers. So it screams to me that you'll probably see balanced lineups, but maybe my rankings are just off and people go stars and scrubs. But the first guy that I really like, and I think you've been on him some, both of you may have, is Adam Schenk. I think he's right there again. Cut maker. He missed Valspar, but not by much. Then he's had a T30, a T29, a T33. He played here last year, which I like. He made the cut last year, which I like again. He is another bet I've already locked in at 150 to 1. So I have Palmer and him. My other one, I was going to say for the round table, but since Bucks has already said him, it's Nick Taylor. I love Nick Taylor this week, so I locked him at 80. So those 3 I really like this week. And so those are kind of freebies to the listeners. Or the rest of them, you kind of got to be a premium to get in on. But the second one, and I got to dig a little more because I think some of his information is smoke and mirrors, but I do like where his game's coming on. And I watched him some at the Punta when the WGC was showing, some kind of article or something other than golf is DJ Trahan.
You got him.
I like him. He's up in my model. I think some of his rounds in that model are from the easier tournaments. So I'm not like, he's a guy that will still be up there for me. He won't be as high as what the raw models show as I start deep diving. He's played this course once and he made the cut, finished last after the cut, T72 in 2016. But I like that he's at least been here. Not a lot of PGA action. He's played some of the opposite field events, things like that. But for 6,700, he's in my wheelhouse to potentially play. So those two. And then other than that, I may catch an eye on KH Lee. I feel like he kind of trolled the DFS community going out to Punta and making a run. But this is a different course, so I don't know if I'll jump on him, but I'll keep an eye. He's back up in my model a little bit, but really that's about it, other than some flyers. So those are the two guys I'm keeping an eye on.
Yeah, my first one was going to be DJ Trahan as well. His last, I want to say 9 tournaments that he's played on the PGA Tour. He has made the cut in 8 of them. The one he missed was at the Desert Classic. It's actually a tougher cut to make because they cut it down to 60, I think, because it's the 3 courses there. But he's top 20 his last 3. I know that one's at the Puerto Rico and one's at the Punta Cana, but 18th at the Pebble Beach. Maybe he likes those coastal courses, but 7th at the Sanderson Farms back in those wraparound seasons. So I really like DJ Trahan as well. My second guy, you mentioned Shank. Obviously, I like Shank as well. Like you said, Gup, I think it's a little tougher week to go down this week, but I'm going to go with a guy in Jonathan Bird. He's been getting better as of recently. He did finish 4th at the Punta Cana, 21st at the Puerto Rico Open, 22nd at AT&T. So we're seeing a reoccurring theme with a lot of guys that have played good at kind of lesser events. Now, I would consider this not the Punta Cana or Puerto Rico Open, but it is a lesser event as far as world ranking points go because there's not as many top players playing. It gets helped out by Kuchar and Fowler and Finau and those types, but those would be my 2 guys there. All righty, let's go with some head-to-head picks for the week. I'm going to give you guys 2 names, and we're going to go just back and forth, see who we like between those 2. So I think we've answered most of the above 10K, obviously. So let's go with between Jim Furyk and Lucas Glover. Go first.
Furyk's number 1 in my model this week overall.
Okay.
I just don't know where I'm going to go with him yet. I know he's not in the Masters unless I read it wrong yet. So a win to get in type of deal, kind of like Poulter. The best recent form in the field, but, not even close. He's played this course 3 times, so I'll go Furyk. He's a guy. Obviously Furyk and Moore are 1-2, and I just got to figure out how the builds are going to go and where to go with them. But I like Furyk.
Awesome. How about you, Bucks?
That's tough, man, because I really love Glover. I'm going to go Glover. Furyk is number 1 in my rankings, but I would go gut over that and go Furyk.
You mean Glover?
Yes, Glover over Furyk.
Yep. Okay. Same with I think it's really close too. I think it might be a ownership. Which one gets me off which one? I think they're probably going to be really close in ownership. So if I had to pick, I'd go Furyk. Let's go drop down a little bit. Some foreign players. Hao Tung Lee versus Joost Luiten, 8,600 and 8,500. We'll leave with you on this one, Bucks.
Yeah, I'm going to go Joost. I can't go Hao Tung Lee. He's burned me last year at the British. I won't play him ever again.
Go.
Same. I think Lee
Same. It burned Gup too last year at the British.
Lee will. I think he'll be a darling after his performance last week. He hit the ball well and he was impressive in person. But I like Luiten. I think he's actually high up in my model and probably in my pool as of now. So I'll go him.
Yep, I'm on the same exact reasons as you got there, except he didn't burn me at the British, but Loughton is the play for me. Let's go jump down. Everybody's favorite Luke List, or do you drop down to a JB Holmes? Bucks? And by drop down, it's the same exact price.
JB Holmes.
Got.
I'll go List.
I'll go List for the Masters factor.
I don't know that either one of them will be in my play this week, but if I had to choose, it would be List. And
Okay.
I do agree with you on that as far as he's got to win to get into.
Mm-hmm. Joel Damon or Ollie Schneider-Jans? Go.
This hurts to say, but Damon's not real high. Ollie is. I don't know. I've heard some chatter about him in what I've seen already, but if I had to pick out of those two, it'd probably be Ollie.
Bucks.
Oh man. Yeah, I'd go Ollie as well.
I would go Damon. So let's drop down then around 7,000. I think this is a guy that I like a lot this week, but Scott Stallings and another guy I like a lot this week, Kramer Hickok. Bucks.
I really like Stallings this week, honestly. Hickok was kind of my number 2 guy to be Rookie of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that's not playing out too well, but I do like both of them. But Stallings, I really like this week.
Go.
Stallings, yeah, he was on my roundtable discussion list, so I like Stallings.
And we'll lead straight into that. Go. Talk about Stallings then, because I like him too.
Yeah, obviously everybody's kind of had seen the footage of working out, losing weight, but it does help, and I think he's focused again. He's on that list for me that he could make a run and win this to try to get in. Stat wise, he's done great. He's not the best short game, and so that does worry if he's not hitting greens, which he's top 12 in the field in there. But if he's not, could get in trouble there. He's missed a cut here twice, but it's circled around a T13, so he has the capability to get around this course. A T9 at the Valspar, which I thought was impressive on a tough field. Was right up there at the end, fought the tough conditions. Didn't have the greatest Sunday, but it's still top 10 out there. It's good any day. So I like him. Taylor was another guy on my roundtable. We kind of already talked about that with Bucks. Furyk I just mentioned. Kokrak he's all those guys, Moore, Furyk, Kokrak are in the same boat for me. They're great. I like them. They're high on my model. It's just where do they fit in ownership wise? That 9,000 is kind of going to be a hotbed, especially if people drop down out of the 5K. I mean, the 5-digit, the top. So any of those three are right there for me on the edge. I just got to figure out. And if Sung Jae is going to be low owned by Wednesday or lower than expected, then those may go out the door for me as well. As I probably will focus on 1 to 3 max this week with all the satellites out there. So it's kind of the build of the week for me. Neiman was on my list. We mentioned that for obvious reasons. Probably the only other guy that I hadn't heard anything of. There's 2 of them. Sung Kang, which I know Bucks loves him some Sung Kang at times. Mm-hmm. He's on right there on the edge for me. He's top 12 overall. He's had 4 straight made cuts with a T6 at the API and a T18 at the Valspar. Very strong, tough tracks. He's played this course. This is 4th year in a row to play it. He missed the cut last year, but a T6 and a T42 before that, so I have no issues playing him. And the other one who playing pretty decent and has a great track record here, really cheap, 7,100 is Chris Kirk. He's got 2 8s and a 13. So just a solid game. One guy that kind of caught my eye before we went on the air, and maybe Buck said him or not, is Jonathan Vegas. I know he wants to get back to the Masters, played it last year. He does have the game to get the ball out there if there is a little bit of an advantage there. Doesn't have the best tournament history here overall. 3 missed cuts, a 64th and a 34th, but pretty good form coming in, a 13th, a 23rd. Then he made a 3rd at the Players, as we saw with the big putt on 17. Last week got a 26th at Punta. I don't know how fired he up was to be there necessarily, but he's a guy that's on my short list as well.
Bucks, how about you?
Yeah, there's a couple guys that I like this week that we didn't necessarily mention. The first guy would be Charlie Hoffman. I do like him this week. The next guy, Gup already mentioned him. Sung Kang is a guy that I feel like I'm on every week. But I do like him a lot. He is a really good ball striker. I mean, really good. So I do like him a lot. And then the next guy, the last guy I'll mention, is a guy that when you look at him play, when you look at his stats, they're not all there, but he's trending in the right direction. And it's just a gut play that I feel like this course suits him, and that's Austin Cook. I really like Austin Cook this week.
I'm going to mention one, and it's a guy that burned me at the Valspar, and so I'm going to go right back to him. That's Ryan Moore. I think that his price, people will be off him. But he lost on putting. He's usually a pretty good putter. But Ryan Moore coming off a great players, or a good players, I guess, not great. But before that, he was doing fine. And then the Valspar was a hiccup, and I'll go right back to him. Let's get into the
good long iron player as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Generally,
and he's going to hit the fairways, and that's what he's going to do, and hopefully he can get better at putting. So let's get into this week's betting. Anything you like 40 to 1 or lower, go.
Yeah, well, one of them, I don't know that I'll go below 40 this week. It's a type of tournament that, you can take some mid to long shots. I like Billy Ho if I'm going to go there at 25, Benny On at 33, and then the guy you just mentioned, Ryan Moore at 35, was a 3 that I've marked as potentials. I don't know if any will make my final card, but they're kind of on my set. I'm going to more focus lower than 45.
Bucks, how about you?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, but I do like Sanjay M at 25 to 1. I think he's super solid. I honestly think he has a chance to win this week. So,
Yeah, I got Benny On at 35 when it came out, so that was the one that I placed. But Sungjae, I will probably play him as well. You can actually get more at 40 on Bovada, Gup, so that's a good number, I think, for more. You're going to play him. How about between 45 and 75, Gup?
Yeah, Answer's real close to making the card already. I like him. He was 40 on 5 dimes when I pulled it. Palmer I already mentioned. Kang is in the option right there at 66. Neiman will be, my FOMO bet, as I always do, him and Ryan Armour. So not real strong necessarily on the 70 to 1, but I almost bet him every week.
Bucks?
Yeah, for me, and this is why I didn't mention him earlier via DK, is because if I had to bet somebody in this range, it would be Sung Kang at 66 to 1.
Awesome. Yeah, I don't think I had anybody in that range highlighted. So we'll move on. 75 or 80 to 120. Go.
Nick Taylor, mentioned him earlier, 80 to 1. Definitely like him. A guy just mentioned in the round table, Chris Kirk at 100 to 1. Those were the only 2 in this area that kind of fit what I was looking at.
Bucks.
Yeah, outside Taylor, there's nobody in this range that I am all over.
I like Damon, but he might be a good first-round leader bet at 80 to 1. See what his odds are for first-round leader, but he's been first-round leader, I think, the last 2 tournaments he's played. So, okay, above that, 125 or over 120. Go.
Yeah, obviously Shank was the one I mentioned earlier. What did you have Damon at?
80.
80, okay. I don't mind him as well. I kind of missed over him, but Armour was a bet. He's 135. He's decent in DraftKings. He probably on the outside looking in for me, but seeing him in person and then watching where his game, I really think, if he can, he strikes the ball really well. It's obviously one of his strengths, but he's so hit or miss. It's hard to play him consistently, but betting him is okay. 135 is not a bad number. Getting a 6 at the Valspar and then a 12th at the Honda two tough courses. This traditionally is a tough course. For him, the harder this plays, the more it brings him in, and I really just don't see that this week. So he's on the outside looking in, but I don't mind throwing a bet on him.
Bucks.
Yeah, I think for me, the only guy in like the deep range that I'm kind of looking at would be Leviot at 250.
Yep. I've got my spawn. Stupid. He'll withdraw, so I'll get that $10 back. But Grayson Murray caught my eye. I think he's played well here in the past. Maybe I saw that wrong. Gup, you can correct me on that. But 200-1, he might be a first round leader bet or something like that. But 200-1 for a guy coming off 12th in Punta Cana. Not taking a lot of weight into that, but 200-1 seems about right, I guess. But he's not a good player, so. But he's won before, so you never know, I guess. Alrighty, one and done standings. Gup leading us still 4.8. I have 2.1 and Bucks is 2.05. The only reason I passed Bucks is because I put in one and you didn't last week.
It was Simpsons, so give me my $10.
It would have put you almost exactly tied with me because I had Charles Howell, so he obviously didn't do anything either. So let's go around this week's pick. I think Bucks, you got yours. Who is it?
Sanjayam.
Alrighty, and Gup, who you got?
I'm gonna go Billy Horschel.
And I'm gonna go Benny on.
Have you used him already?
I have not used him. I'm 90% sure. In the meantime,
he just gets mentioned all the time.
He gets mentioned all the time. Yeah, he's a favorite of us in our group. I know he's a favorite of ours, and but I will check on that. If you guys want to let the fans know what's coming up this week, we have a big week. Gup, you want to take that lead?
Yeah. So obviously, talking to the guys last night and stressing that we still have a golf tournament this week. It's important.
Yes.
I think a lot of the industry will skip over it, but the DraftKings pots they're just the same as they were at the Valspar or Honda so if you play, you're playing the week, not building up to next week. Now, if you want to cut back a little and save so you're bankroll managing correctly, yeah, I'll support that, but still focus on what's at hand here. You're one and done, your DraftKings, it'll get, don't rush the Masters. It'll get here soon enough. Trust me. With that, we released our content schedule Sunday night. So you can check it out on the site and see everything we got coming. We did finish up getting confirmation from Joe Pita, I believe is how you would say it. He wrote the 2019 Masters golf book that many of us have seen, read. I was in the middle of reading it for the second time before we came on the show. His Twitter handle, if you want to go follow him now, is @Magic. I had it right here.
Rat.
Yes, Magic Rat SF. Very interesting guy. Great book. He's got it. He's big baseball before this. He's going to be on. So Bucks and I are going to do a interview show with him tomorrow night. We'll release it a little bit later in the week. I believe probably Thursday, kind of midday after everything's locked, and so people who are done sweating for the week or think they are can jump on that pod. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great show. Fascinated with his way of looking at things. It's obviously very, close to the way that we operate and what we've done over the last, almost 2 years now in research. So it'd be interesting to see. We sent him some samples and content of what we do. So interesting to see his view of our stuff and our view of his stuff and kind of go back and forth with him for some fun tomorrow night, a little bit different. I'll be on the Bogey Free podcast tomorrow night as well. I believe they do a live show, so you can check Twitter for that and where to be and all that. Looking forward to that. I will also be on our friend Hump's show late tomorrow night. I'm sure it'll come out Wednesday.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so kind of I guess being my home event now. Wednesday night we will record our Masters preview show. kind of everything about the Masters that we like, personal, when we've been there, kind of favorite memories, and then just the raw breakdown of the event, nothing in depth on DraftKings or anything. We'll talk about the few outrights we've already placed. We'll release that either Thursday or Friday. We'll release the Joe interview, and one of them on Thursday, one on Friday. We'll kind of figure it out when Josh gets his stuff done. So looking forward to that as well. So that'll be Wednesday night after the E9. With that, the E9 is going to start 30 minutes early this week. So we will go 8:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Central, till 9 o'clock Eastern, 8:30 Central, 30-minute E9 this week. Then we're going to record our show, and then we'll hop back in the Slack and wrap up that evening as everybody gets ready to lock in lineups. Thursday night, I'm recording a special pod, kind of keeping it a secret for right now. I think everybody will love it. It's something I've been working on. It's a personal one that I worked on by myself with Josh. Got a very special kind of co-host that I've been working with, securing for the last month. It's not necessarily a golf pod or anything. It's just something that I've wanted to do, and it'll come out this weekend. So look forward to it. Kind of tease it throughout the week. Not even the partners really know about it. I've kind of kept it to myself as a surprise, and so I'm interested to see how their feedback of it goes. But it'll be exciting. So it'll fill in with the Masters theme and the weekend theme and all that. So looking forward to it. Then we will normal content Friday and Saturday. Then Sunday we will kick it up for the Masters. We'll start putting out our first kind of rankings, stuff like that. The course preview, Bucks can jump in or correct me if I'm wrong, will come out tomorrow. Yeah,
it should be tomorrow.
Yeah,
there were some issues with our presentation software the last couple of days, emails. But yeah, if all's up and running, tomorrow will be good. If not, Wednesday morning, but we'll be good.
Yeah, so I'll be the first piece, and then I'll obviously for our preview show, kind of do some of my work and start releasing a couple of things, and we're loaded. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we have wall-to-wall content coverage. Monday night will be our big pod, breakdown pod. All of us on, full hour and a half probably. It's one of the longer pods of the year, but there'll be tons to break down going into that. Tuesday, again, full action. We'll be on. We will be doing a live show every night of the Masters, which will kind of take place of my showstoppers. It'll be the theme of it. We'll recap it. I'll ask any of the guys that want to come on. If it's me by myself, then that'll be that. But it'll be live. JB will be firing us up on YouTube and Periscope and all that. So Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, we'll talk about the round, the day, any updated bets, who we like, and then also obviously we'll go through some guys we like for round 2, round 3, round 4 of Showdown as well. So full coverage, and then we'll wrap it all up Sunday night at the Masters with one person who's bought an annual or 2-year membership will get drawn to join us 2 weeks from Sunday at Augusta at Blue Jack National in Houston, which will be just an awesome time with Moose from Fantasy National. He's founder, Bucks, and myself. So make sure you watch that show. We'll also draw the winner of the now $500 prize pack full of gear from everywhere, all kinds of tournaments coast to coast. So that night will be fun. We'll recap the Masters, obviously, and hopefully we're recapping a whole bunch of people winning money. But a big, long 2 weeks coming for us. This is a time to join, spread the word if you can. Probably the last thing for me is remember to, Josh and Bucks as well did a great job making our first ever GupsCorner t-shirt. It's a limited edition, Masters edition. There's only a limited quantity. We're not going to reorder it. It won't be done again. It's a one-time deal. So we've already sold about 30-40% of the inventory. So I would jump on that before it's all gone, because we made it limited for a reason. We'll make some more, but this was kind of our first one we wanted to do. And you can check that out on all of our Twitter feeds, or you can go to GupsCorner.com/store. You do not have to be a member to go there. Shake your head if that's correct, Josh. Yes. All right. Yeah. So you don't have to be a premium member. You can go to GupsCorner/store and order you a shirt if you're just a follower or listener and you want to support. Go ahead, have at it. The shirts are fantastic. They are high quality shirts. These aren't $3 t-shirts that are going to tear in the washer. These are extremely high quality at a very cheap price. Our Bucks can. Is it We Bleed Blue?
We Bleed Blue.
Yeah,
Joe Rizzo.
Yeah, they are. They created the shirts for us. Did an awesome job. I did have a few people asking where their shirt is, and maybe we probably didn't do a good enough job. It was a pre-sale. They are all purchased. They will be here in the next 24 to 48 hours probably, or they'll be to Josh. Josh is going to get them. So we will have them in the mail by the end of the week to everybody. I'm praying to get mine by Thursday, hopefully, so I can wear it Friday. But they'll be, if you've ordered them, they'll be coming in the next 4 to 5 days. We'll keep you updated. Other than that, I appreciate it. We are approaching almost 1,000 premium members subscribed to our site. It's not a number that we're going to go around boasting and bragging a lot, but I'm floored by the number. Our goal is to hit that now for the Masters. Well, like the guys said to start it off, the difference in us and some of the others, although we don't have any enemies, we don't down talk anybody, but the thing that we're about is us and how we do things. And the biggest sell there is we try to make people better. We're available 24/7 as much as we can be, but the community's thriving on its own. Today I was extremely busy with my real job, missed, virtually all day, jumped back in. And although I have, I'll have 20 to 30 DMs and messages that I'll get to, but no one's, crazy about it. But the whole messages in the group thrive on its own. And some of the questions get answered that are repeat questions that we don't have to worry about. But yesterday was great. I mean, I didn't have a great DK week. I had no sweat on Sunday. It was virtually just, can I hang on to the money? I had one. But it was fun seeing just 10s and 20s and 30s of guys sweating and super excited for their first big, 10X week, 20X week. And it doesn't have to be big money. Yeah. It was guys throwing $10 in and winning 150 and, and they get to play a little bit more this week. And then they get a big week at the Masters. And, it's great to see that in the community, and this is just the beginning. I mean, we've been here less than 2 months now going premium. Now's the time to get in. So the last thing for me is I will not go back on this price. So April 15th, the price moves up, $14.99 a month, $129 a year. I won't go backwards back to $6.99 or $69. We have plenty of growth to sustain. So we'll throw out some discounts and stuff off those prices, but the $6.99 and $69 will never return. You'll never get it. So if you're on the fence, you might as well jump in now because Masters content's already rolling out. We will offer a weekly package when we go to that April 15th deal if people want to try it, but it's not going to be any better than what you're going to get right now. So I'd jump in if you're on the fence. It's a great community and very proud of the team and everybody that supported us to date.
The only other thing I wanted to add to that is that it's not just to the end of the PGA season because we do almost every sport in there. So if you do a yearly subscription right now, it's 365 days.
Correct. Yep. It auto renews on either your monthly or your annual date. There's no, you're not getting prorated or you're not getting screwed because you're joining late. You'll get till, April 1st of 2020 if you join today. That's correct. Yeah. Yep. Thanks for adding that.
Yep. And I know you guys don't care about it, but we have a great soccer chat in there. There's a great, I'm sure there's a great wrestling chat in there. There's every sport.
Come on, Ruvy. Come on. I could stick with soccer, football. Come on. Man.
Okay. We hit a 14 parlay.
Hey, it's WrestleMania week. Come on.
I don't know.
It's wrestling week of the year. Yeah.
My wife actually even likes it a little. She watches that Diva show.
There you go. To your point, there's a lot of things I don't get involved with, which is cool to see. I get requested. Yeah. There's soccer. There's a March Madness. There's tennis. There's a junior golf. Yep. Junior golf channel for dads that are asking questions about where to travel, where to set up their kids for it, which Bucks helps out because he's been in that. I mean, so it's the community we envision growing. It is not just come read our picks and plays and play this and move on. That's not what it's about. It's never what it was meant to be about. It's exciting. And I would tell you to at least do the month now because you get locked in for life. So you get through the Masters. I wouldn't wait until the weekly comes out because you're going to regret it, I promise. But if you're on the fence at all, pay $7. You get the best time of the year to check it all out. And I bet at this time next week, you'll probably upgrade to the annual because you don't want to miss out on that price.
That's all I have. Anybody else?
No, sir.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, for joining us. And everybody have a good week.
See you Wednesday.
SmashFactor.